Hello, and once again welcome to SpaceOil guitars for my GGBO build. This time I have made sure that the wires are plugged in. Let me just double check that. Yes, they are. Also got my heating on, so if you hear any like background noise, that's it, because it's getting cold up here in northern Norway. So if you watched my last video, you saw that I fixed these chips and dents. They're looking pretty good. So today I'm gonna fix the unlacquered part of the body. And then I know I discussed in the last video whether or not I was going to put a clear coat on, and I thought maybe I'd just do epoxy on the back. I've sort of gone away from that idea. I think I need to do clear coat on the front anyway, so why not clear coat the back as well? It'll be hard to separate those two, and I don't think I'll get the epoxy layer thick enough to sort of melt in. So that's something we've got to do. There's a couple of things I need to fix before starting to clear coat this guitar. I need to go through the epoxy, sanding through some of the epoxy here. I'm not going to re-epoxy that. I'm just going to cover it with clear coat. There's also some sort of residue left from the tape that we need to take off, and also some parts that are just been sanded down, because as I mentioned, when you put the epoxy on, if your ground work, if the work you do first isn't 100%, it'll show very, very well. And that's what happened here. So right around the neck pocket area, there was about a half a centimeter piece where the fibers started to rise. So I had to fix that. But that won't show when you get the clear coat on, so I'm not worried about that. So yeah, let's just get to work. This will be a full-length video, hopefully, and we're nearing the end, so I hope to be finished with this guitar pretty soon. I have other projects waiting for me. I have 2 guitars that are for complete restoration. I have this old handmade Yamaha behind me. I have a Fernandez that was given to me. The electronics need to be fixed. I have my 7-string that I'm building, that I've sort of just gotten to in between while I'm waiting for the GGBO guitars lacquer to dust dry so that I can put a fresh coat. I've sort of done stuff in between, but I want to sort of focus on that because I need a good 7-string. Anyway, let's get to work. All right, so this pencil line here, and this is residue. I'm going to try to just sort of wash this away using white spirit or naphtha. I believe there is another pencil line somewhere, pencil mark. We're going to get to, anyway, all this residue needs to come off. So I think I'm just going to start with that. Ensure there's nothing that can hurt the finish underneath. And I'm just going to do that with some sandpaper. I'm going to start with this pencil line. I don't know how I missed it when I was working on it, but it's really, 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 really annoying. So let's see if we can just get that away. So there we go. See this? Here's a mark. I need to sand out. That's lacquer that's gotten through the masking tape. Here is where I sanded earlier. As you can see, there's a pencil mark there as well. Sand that away. And also this needs to be sanded, or lacquered rather. This is completely smooth now. I'm going to lacquer it white so that the binding sort of goes in one, it goes wide and then thin again. So I think that would be pretty cool here, also here. But I think this is just from sanding process. Maybe not. Anyway, I need to clean this guitar more thoroughly and sand it, and then I'll be back for final preparation before the clear coat. Alright, I'm sorry if there's a lot of noise, but I just put a clear coat on the guitar and I need my air purifier on, otherwise I will die. So what I thought I'd do is to very gently try to wet sand the headstock. It's been lacquered, but it's a little bit thick and it doesn't look so good, so I'm going to start with a high grit, staring into my light as usual, trying to use not so much water because I don't want too much water to get into the tuner holes, but some is okay. I do have some epoxy in there, so should be good, but you're not able to really check the thickness of anything inside the tuner hole, so if you do this, then do it carefully. Anyway, I'm going to do this in quick video. I'm going to speed it up because this isn't too exciting to watch. Alright, so now we're just gonna do the final stages of smoothing the neck. Can't feel a lot of it, but I see there's a little bit here, just some small parts that I'm gonna do, probably going to speed that up as well. Alright, so pretty much done with this. It is so smooth, it feels better than any neck I've built so far. I'm wondering whether to leave it untreated, to wax it, epoxy it, or lacquer it. Maybe just stain it and then wax it. Or maybe just, I don't know. I really don't know. So I'm going to leave that for now and put another coat on the body. And what am I going to do then? If I leave it untreated, then it's a very sort of prone to dirt and stuff. So I think if I'm going to do something, I need to do it now when it's not dirty, to say it like that. So I think I'm gonna lacquer this as well, and we'll see how that turns out. So stay tuned. All right, another day, and the lacquer has dried. I sprayed a clear coat on the neck, the back of the neck, and the body. As expected, some of the grain rised up, so I'm going to try to buff that down with a very, very high grit and see how we get on from there. I think that should be sufficient. I don't need to saturate the wood completely. I sort of like the satin feel to satin neck. So I'm going over with 12,000 grit, slightly wet, and yeah, let's see how that turns out. So I'm just in here for a short period today, just to check up on the lacquering. And this isn't wet sanding, I'm just knocking down some of the fibers. They are obviously harder now due to the lacquer. So I'm just feeling for any rough spots. And this is usually a pretty quick process. If you put lacquer on bare wood, then you know what I'm talking about. The fibers stick up, same as I do with water and stain. So I'm gonna knock this down and then give it another thin coat, just so that I know I haven't sanded down into the wood. That'll be hard to do with a 12,000 grit anyway, but and then afterwards we're going to wet sand the back of the headstock. The front of the headstock turned sort of matte, and I quite like that. I don't know if you can see, it looks pretty shiny still, but it is matted down. I like that look, so I'm going to keep that, I think. And I really, really like the feel of this neck. So as soon as I get I think one more thin coat should do. And then have a look at the body. But I don't suspect the body will give us any problems, because I spent a long time on the prep work for that, so I'd be surprised if issues arise now with the body. So right here I'm feeling some, so I'm going to knock that down, get some more water on. I use detergent in my water for lubrication. So this is not just water. So I can see it's foaming a bit, but right there now. There we go. And I'm not masking the front anymore. I'm hanging it like this onto my trusted plate or board. So I'm not getting any lacquer to the front. What lacquer does come to the front is easily scraped off because it's not building anything. So I'm going to give another go with this. And then I think the neck is pretty much done. Then we're going to test mount. And yeah, start neck shaping and stuff. I also need to wax pot the pickups, but I don't really see a point in filming that because it's just me putting the pickups in a wax pot. I use this hot glue pot, so if you know what equipment I use, that's it. Alright, so let's check out the body. Alright, so this is the body now. The lacquer is very, very smooth. It's a little less on top. Sorry, it'll be at the jack end. This is where it's hanging from, so I expected that. So I'm going to hang it the other way and get a coat, a good, nice, even coat all the way around, because this is a bit thin. And then once that is done, start masking and doing this part. And when that is done, I'll add 3-4 coats of clear and then just wet sand. I'm only going to wet sand the front of this guitar. The back doesn't need any wet sanding, sort of like the textured stuff. I'm going to even out any bumps, of course, but other than that, it's starting to look finished. Alright, so that was it for this episode. Thank you for watching. I think the next episode will be maybe that white stripe, maybe test mounting. We'll see. I don't really have a plan for this part of the build. So I'm just sort of going to have to play it by ear. But I think test mounting, I need to get a white stripe on the body first, so that's going to be number 1. And then test mounting after that. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you for watching so far. And keep up with the other GGBO22